Orbit College will be playing in the Betway Premiership next season. That's after their 1-0 victory against Cape Town City in a PSL Promotion Playoff clash at Olympia Park Stadium in Rustenburg. They're the only team who recorded a win in the 3-team round-robin format and finished with an unassailable 8 points. Meanwhile, Mamelodi Sundowns were last night eliminated from the FIFA Club World Cup. That's after playing to a goalless draw against Fluminense FC. So for more on these stories, we're joined virtually by Tshepang Mailwane. He's a senior reporter at Soccer Laduma. Tshepang, I feel like we actually just had this conversation, right? Exactly about the promotion relegation playoffs and then what was happening in the FIFA Club World Cup. Did things pan out as you thought they would? Let's start with Mamelodi Sundowns. Everyone seems to be really proud of them, and I think they've garnered quite a strong global support base as well.
Yeah, good morning, Stacey. It's true. I mean, Mamelodi Sundowns gave a good account of themselves, and I was able to see the amount of supporters they gained in the USA because of the type of football they played. They did well to finish fourth, and I am one of those who's proud of them. But my concern at times is that when you do have an opportunity to win, to progress at a stage like that, you should take it. I mean, against Dortmund, I felt they had an opportunity to win that game. They didn't. Last night, against Fluminense, they dominated play, but they didn't do enough, I felt, to score a goal. And Fluminense were there for the taking. You know, these are opportunities that you should take when you get them, because you have no guarantee that they're going to come again in future. So I feel that Sundowns should have progressed. Yes, there are positives, but I'm a bit disappointed that they did not go through. They really had a good chance.
They're going to be looking at their tournament and seeing, you know, that Dortmund game, as you mentioned, the slip up there and what it truly cost them in this encounter. As you mentioned, they dominated possession, particularly in the first half. There were so many opportunities. In fact, in both halves, there were so many opportunities. Reyners will be frustrated. Matthews was there as well. And then the question that's been coming up is the substitutions they've been making, not just in this tournament, actually. Even if we look at the CAF Champions League, there's always, why was Cardoso making those substitutions and those changes?
Yeah, true. I feel at times he has been let down by substitutions. I mean, you mentioned the Champions League final. I felt, for one, Ikram Reyners should not have gone off in that final, especially after he scored the goal.
Exactly.
You know, when a striker scores a goal, he wants to keep scoring more. And yesterday, maybe I felt that the introduction of Artur Sales was not the right one at the time for the team. He's a good player. We've seen how he's been able to rise and improve his game locally, but I felt that they needed a bit something different in that game, maybe even in Neo Mayema, if possible, if he could have come on. It was good to see Litlaku coming on, but he obviously couldn't offer much. So you're right, at times I feel that the substitutions have let him down, and at a stage like the Club World Cup and a stage like the Champions League final, if you get these small details wrong, you're going to get teams that are a bit more experienced that are going to punish you. Fluminense, for example, yesterday, I felt that they were happy to have Sundowns holding on to possession because they were not much of a threat going forward. So it suited Fluminense the way Sundowns played. I felt that they needed a bit more urgency. They should have scored more, and maybe your substitutions should have spoken to that.
Ronwen Williams, when he had that mishap, he said that you get punished at this level of football. And I thought that message probably should have been driven deeper. As you mentioned, there was a slight lack of urgency, always on the line. But let's look at, they weren't just carrying their own hopes, they were carrying the hopes of the African continent, the other clubs obviously all falling out. What does this mean for African football, particularly in this new expanded format, and the fact that they want to move towards the 50-team format as well?
Yeah, I guess it's just a reminder that we're still a bit back. There's still a lot to work on. There's still a lot to improve on. And look, in most situations, I've watched these games, is that we can compete. It's just that there's something lacking. At times, lapses of concentration. At times, the small details that we miss out on. I mean, you look at how Al Ahly played that 4-4 draw with FC Porto the other day. These are games where a bit more discipline is required, a bit more consistency throughout the game is required. I think we tend to make silly mistakes, and we've seen this even at the World Cup stage where African teams are there. So we need to make sure that we improve on these little mistakes. And at times it surprises me because we have and now I'm talking about the World Cup, not the Club World Cup. We have players who play in Europe and they have all this experience that they've gained in Europe, but they're not able to use it when they get to the World Cup. So it's really something that we need to work on, because we can't always talk about African sides just participating at these competitions. We really want to see more than just one at times, like Morocco did well in the last World Cup, but we need to see more doing well.
Yeah, they need the chops to progress further. Okay, so let's come back home, the promotion relegation playoffs. Did you anticipate Orbit College being the team and the club to progress to the Betway Premiership? And again, questions online, what is going on with Cape Town City?
Look, I anticipated that one of the teams from the Motsepe Foundation would go up. For some reason, I didn't think that Cape Town City would make it through these playoffs. I've watched some of the games this season, and they've really had a very disappointing campaign. And going into the playoffs, I didn't see them surviving. I tend to lack the proper words when I describe them. I see them as this, let's say, soft life type of team. And when you go into the playoffs, you're really playing against teams that grind hard. They want to get to the top. And I felt that maybe if a Polokwane City or Richards Bay were in the playoffs, they could have had a chance of surviving, but I didn't really see that happening with Cape Town City. But it's a big loss for me personally when I think of Cape Town City, because I see them as a club that's a bit more stable. In a time where a lot of teams are buying and selling, they are the ones that attract sponsors. They are the ones who are a bit more stable. I think they pay their players well. I'm not saying other teams don't, but you want that type of team in the PSL. And Orbit College, it's great for them that they're going up, but you wonder how long will they be able to last?
Well, this is the question. Sorry to interject.
Yes,
do they keep what worked, or do they make changes? Because that's going to be an interesting dynamic for them.
Look, I mean, they need to keep most of what worked and obviously bring in some experienced players. It's going to be a tough season, but I've seen teams that many people don't know about coming in and doing well. But the question, like I asked, how long do you see them surviving? It's going to be very important for them to make the right decisions to ensure they not only survive on the pitch, but off it too, because there's a lot of financial decisions that they're going to need to make sure that they last long and not just become a team that gets sold one day.
If you can quickly indulge me, because I got to let you go, Orlando Pirates' new coach, Tshepang Mailwane, joining as well. What do you make of this?
Surprising appointment of the coach, but that's how Orlando Pirates tend to do things. But I watched him at Marumo Gallants a few games, and I feel that they were a bit more organized under him, and maybe he can do the same with a bit more quality at Pirates in terms of playing staff. Tshepang Mailwane, for them, a fantastic signing. If you get Tshepang Mailwane playing and being consistent and being disciplined, he's one of the best players in the country. And if they can get the best out of him, trust me, they're gonna enjoy themselves with a player like him, because he's got raw talent, the type that you don't find in anyone. So good signing for them.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your insightful thoughts and covering a whole host of things. We've been chatting to Tshepang Mailwane. He's a senior reporter at Soccer Laduma. We're just talking about the FIFA Club World Cup, what it meant for African teams and particularly Mamelodi Sundowns. He's sharing that they should have been a little bit more hungry. Do you agree? Because that's one of the questions we've been asking you on X.com.